Storm season is here, and a lot of people now in the south, we here just had a major hurricane come through, Helen, and a lot of majority of South Carolina was out of power. So we're going to talk today about the importance of having a generator and having a decent generator that's very reliable. So when you talk about generators, not all generators are created equally. There's a lot of generators that are out there that are just for just running power. I mean, it's going to be good for your everyday appliances and whatnot. But if you have anything that's sensitive, laptops, computers, anything that is computerized, you want a little bit of a cleaner signal. That's where something like your Onan generator is going to come into play. The P on the end of the P2500I, the P is for portable. The 2500 on this one means that it puts out a maximum of 2500 watts. And the I makes it an inverter. The inverter on this one is actually extremely quiet, which quiet not as far as in loud making noise, even though this is a quiet generator. It's for sensitive equipment. You can run your laptops, you can run your sensitive equipment off of this because it is a very clean running inverter on it. Cummins is not new to the generators. Cummins is fairly new to the portable generators. If any of you are familiar with RVing, the majority of RV generators are going to be Onan generators. They're very efficient generators, and they're extremely durable generators. We picked this generator up about, I want to say 3 years ago, for our camper, so we can actually boondock, and it's worked fairly well for us. Today I'm going to go over some of the pros and the cons about this generator, and we can talk a little bit thoroughly about is it going to be the right fit for you or if you need something a little bit different. So one of the reasons why we chose the Onan generator is because of the actual noise level on it. I knew that Onan was a very good producers of generators because I am familiar with the RVs, and they are on a lot of the RVs. But it's also for the decibels on it. This one runs at 52 decibels, which is extremely quiet. We bought this primarily for our camper, but of course we do have it for use for emergencies too, if we need to have it to power the house in an outage as such that we were going through last week, where now you can do the refrigerator, can do your TV, some lights, and stuff like that. So we did go ahead and buy that. One of the cool things about the Onan generators is this has a peak of 2500 watts. You can also add another P2500 generator to this. You basically put them in parallel with a 30 amp cord, and that will give you a peak of 5,000 on that. They also have the 4200, and you can actually parallel the 2500 with the 4200 if you have a 50 amp cable, and obviously get that extra amperage out of it, that extra power out of it. So it's very versatile when it comes to that. So the Onan generator is 48 pounds. Fairly, you can actually carry it in one hand. It comes with a carry handle on it. Not the lightest generator, but not the heaviest generator, so it is fairly portable on it. It does hold 1 gallon of fuel, and that will run at 10 hours at 25% load. So if you're running refrigerator, lights, VCR, a bunch of other things on it, you're not going to get probably your 10 hours off of it, but it's a fairly good, efficiently running generator for what you're getting at a gallon worth of gas. So what do you get on the front panel here? It's pretty nice on the front panel. You get 2 110 outlets on it. This will not do 220. So that is one of the downfalls of it. It's just not going to run your camper. If your camper's a 30 amp 220 or 30 amp outlet on it, you're not going to run your camper off of that, but you can run the majority of stuff in your camper, borrowing your air conditioner and probably your refrigerator or your heater. It's not going to run off of this. I will tell you that I have run my AC in my camper off of this, but it's just my AC. but you're not going to obviously do your microwave. You're not going to have your water heater turned on. It's just going to do your AC and some other accessories. That is when, if you want to run this off of, use this to run your camper, that's when your parallel ports come in. These two ports right here are going to allow you to parallel up to this one to get you up to that max load. It does have an eco mode on it. That basically is going to preserve your fuel. If you're not pulling a lot of watts off of it, if you're not pulling a lot of power out of it, it's going to idle it down a little bit, give you a little bit more fuel efficiency. So it's not running at that full idle in order to eating up all that fuel if it doesn't need it. It's got a little primer bulb in it for when you go ahead and start it. And then it does have an LED display on it that it's going to give you an oil level warning. When your output is ready, you get an LED light on there. You do have a display on here that's going to give you your basically it's going to give you your runtime, your output, and your voltage of your generator, of what you have on it. And you can even see on here there's a little button under you can press. It'll give you the percentage of how much you're actually using it. Basically, it's going to tell you what load you're at when you press that button when you're actually running. So pretty efficient, little front screen on it. So we can take a look at the back panel on it. The back panel on here does have a panel that's going to cover up the everyday maintenance items on it. To get it open, you turn it to the unlock, pull it apart, and then these just snap off. And once you have that off, insulation on that, you're going to have your carburetor here. Pretty much all this is going to be self-maintenance items. But what you do have here is your oil drain. That's going to be your oil fill, your oil drain, and you're checking your oil on it. So I'm not exactly level here, but you can see on the stick, you can make sure you can check your oil level on it before you run it. Then if you need to fill it up, you're going to fill it up through that point too. So to put this back together, just make sure your fuel overflows back in. This just slides back into the spot here. And then your cover, there's a couple of tabs on it. Those tabs go in the front of it. Once it goes down, that part pops in. Then it locks into place. Another one up there. And you're good to go. So when you're running your generator, the exhaust on this one is back here. It does have a little bit of a plastic shield over it, so you're not going to physically burn yourself on it, but you don't want to have this backed up to your camper or anything else that's flammable. This is where you want it to be able to breathe free out into the atmosphere. You obviously don't want to run it inside. Make sure it's in a well-ventilated area. It is still a gas generator. It may be quiet, but it's still a gas generator, so make sure that it's well ventilated and that the exhaust is not pointing towards your camper where them fumes are going to go inside your camper. Have it pointing away from your camper, away from your house, away from wherever you're using it. So let's go ahead and get this started up and you can see how loud it is. Okay, for running it, the fuel is going to go up in top right here. There is a little strainer inside of there. I'm not going to reach in because I don't want to get my smell like fuel. But you fill it up in the area. Remember, 1 gallon. So 1 gallon fills up really quick. You do have 3 settings on here. You have your off position, you have your run, then you have your choke. To start it off on a complete cold, you want to go to your choke setting. I usually give the primer bulb a couple of pumps, get some fuel in there, and then you just give it a pull. I had it running earlier, so I probably didn't need it on choke. So you can see it's pretty quiet. I got my mic on right now. I'm talking during it. Obviously, I'm right next to it, so it is going to sound fairly loud. If you come to the side here, you can see the display panel on. So that's going to be the run time, how many hours you have to run in. .4 liters of fuel. That's how much what it's putting out for power. 125 volts is what it's actually putting out right now. The 30 is the hours that it's actually on this generator. I got 30 hours on this gen set, and I'm back to my hours on there. It also has a fuel level here, where that's how much fuel I have in it, and it's ready to plug something into it. If that light was on, it would mean that it's an over circuit on it, and it would actually stop generating, and that would mean that it's low on oil. So it's simple to turn it off. You just flip the switch over. Really nice generator. I have had no complaints about this generator at all. So generators, they are not cheap. This generator was not the cheapest one. It's not the most expensive, but it's not the cheapest one either. They're an investment. They're definitely an investment. I chose the Cummins because I think it's more reliable. I do have more faith in it. I've had really good luck with this in the 3 years with being able to fire it up when I needed to actually get it to run. So it's a very decent generator, and it's, I think, for the price of it, and because it's a quiet generator, and that's the big thing we really wanted with the decibels, it's a very good price range for how many watts this is putting out and the price tag that's associated to it. When you need it, you need it. Up north, you got some pumps to stop the basement from flooding that need to run. Down in the south, when the heat hits, you got to have your refrigerators running. I mean, a lot of us have a lot of money just in the fridge alone, and it's going to help you get through those hard times, much less just having your cell phone charged. I will put a link down below to purchase one of these off of Amazon. Keep in mind, I do get a small residual off that if you go through my link. It does help support the channel. But with that said, I would highly recommend the Onan 2500i generator if you are in the market for generator. I do encourage you to buy one. So until then, be safe. Talk to you later.